your mind, oh mind. In treasure, that is what you are. Honey, you're my golden star. You know you can make my wish come true if you let me treasure you. If you let me treasure you. Now pretty boy should be smiling. A boy like you should never look so blue. You're everything I see in my dream. I wanna take back to you if it wasn't true. I know that you don't know it, but you're fine, so fine. See, oh boy, I'm gonna show you with your mind, oh mind. In treasure, that is what you are. Honey, you're my golden star. You know you can make my wish come true if you let me treasure you. If you let me treasure you. Now Dr. Clever, so it's how you need the cover, so I'll talk to your daddy, he said. He said you ain't seen nothing till you're down on a mountain and you sure be changing your ways. I met a cheerleader with a real young beat all the time, so I can reminisce. But the best things of living with a sister and a cousin when it started with a little kiss like this. She's all swinging with the boys in the hood with the feet flying up in the air. Singing hey little little with the kitty in the middle of the swing like I didn't care. So I took a big chance on a high school dance with a missy who was ready to play. Wasn't mean she was fooling cause she knew what she was doing when she told me how to walk this way. She said now, walk this way, talk this way, walk this way, talk this way, walk this way, talk this way, walk this way, talk this way. You are my treasure, you are my treasure. You are my treasure. See you are my treasure. You are my treasure. Come on. Oh baby. Now treasure, that is what you are. Honey, you're my golden star. You can make my wish come true if you let me treasure you. If you let me treasure you. I said now treasure, that is what you are. Honey, you're my golden star. You know you can make my wish come true if you let me treasure you. If you let me treasure you. Greetings and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I just worked up a sweat there. My name is Joy, and welcome to the Nippon Paint Trend Beyond Colors Spatial Design with Colors in Action. First, to the menu of our color leadership initiatives for the year. So the latest installation of Trend Beyond Colors focuses color palettes that can help us channel energy and help us realize what's important in our lives and in the lives of the people who embrace the spaces we have designed. We have four amazing architects and designers lined up to share their personal motivation and inspirational application of colors in their design process. We hope to help spark more inspiration in your creative process. So this next song that I'm going to give you, it's a very meaningful song. It was taken from the movie The Greatest Showman. And this song speaks about personal strength, personal journey, and this song is for each and every one of you tuned in today. I'm not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars.
are, but won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. Well, the sharpest words wanna cut me down. Gonna set a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, here I come, and I'm marching on to beat our drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me.
Let's get the ball rolling. Let's invite our Senior Vice President of Strategic Innovation and Marketing, Gladys Go, to help us kickstart our reset journey.
Thank you, Joy. Hi, I'm Gladys, and it brings me so much joy to have all of you here with us from all over the world. Color leadership has always been part of Nippon Paint focus, and the Trend Beyond Color initiative has grown its influence through a series of colors and trends forecasts derived by color experts to curate color inspiration for the global creative community. We work closely with our teams across the globe, supported by our color partner, Color Hive. We carefully curate themes that resonate trends inspired by technology, economy, politics, social, and environmental factors that shape them. This enables us to observe the balance between global trends and the creative application of colors. Yes, the pandemic may have disrupted our lives, but it also helped us realize the little things that matter, which lead us to focus on getting the world ready for what lies ahead, a life after pandemic. Our team is deeply moved and would like to encourage industries and communities to break free from the shackles of the past and start afresh. Color is a universal language and is extremely powerful in bringing people together. With Reset and our 4 key sub-themes, which are Revive, Restore, Reconnect, and Reflect, we wish you can find connection with your innate emotions and bring the world closer through great design. Before I let you immerse in today's event, I would like to thank our team for putting this together and the enduring support these architects and designers have given to us. I'd like to thank Siritip, Suhasini, Wenhui, and Lai for being such passionate participants in not just our Trend Beyond Colours initiative, but also as mentors and long-serving judges in our flagship program, the AIDA Awards. Thank you so much. I hope you will enjoy the rest of the program today, and I sincerely hope the Reset color palettes will get you fully recharged in this new year. Back to you, Joy. Thank you.
Thank you, Gladys. It is true. Our relationship with colors goes deeper than just what our eyes see. We do interact with spaces, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. We have drawn 4 inspirations from the Trend Beyond Colours Reset, and we hope you can resonate and find inspiration from these 4 sub-themes. Revive, to be one with nature. Restore, about striking a balance. Reconnect, interactivity within a space. Reflect, indulgent spaces and finding our voice. Design and colors play a vital role in creating the right environment for our users. Part of the study for the Trend Beyond Colours highlighted the importance of inviting nature as part of our design, from the brilliant use of color palettes to allowing nature thrive within our carefully designed spaces. Revive is for both us as people and Mother Nature. Here we have our first architect of the day, Siritip, who runs Green Dwell, an architectural design and consultancy for sustainability in Thailand, accompanied with her visions of designing with nature in mind.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Siritip from Thailand. I'm a Sustainable Design Director at Green Dwell, where we believe sustainable architecture can be a balance between enhancing the people's well-being while also reducing negative impacts to the environment. And I wanted to share, this is a page out of my son's favorite picture book called Outside In. He was under the lockdown, and the author of this book also wrote this book under her lockdown as well. This book talks about how we were once a part of nature and connected to nature, but then something happened, and nature is trying to remind us that it's there by this, also this, and this, and even with this. And this book has won many awards last year because I think people can relate to that, because it is our innate human nature that we long to be connected to nature. So I'm very happy that I will get to talk about this topic today, biophilic design, revive by reconnecting with nature. What exactly is biophilic design? Well, we know that bio is life and philic is love. So it is the love of life, the love of living things and nature. But how do you define nature in this sense? When I look it up in Pinterest and I type biophilic design, this is the results that I get. And you can see that all these photos, they share some similarities, and those are some trees or greeneries. Stephen Keller has written a book, and he defines 3 principles of biophilic design. And the first one is that you could provide people with direct experience of nature. And it's not only just about trees or plants, but it also includes light, air, water, and even fire. Or you can also provide them with indirect experience of nature. And that could be using natural materials, natural colors, textures, form, even structures. Images of nature or simulated nature is also the indirect experience. And biomimicry falls here as well. And thirdly, experience of space and place. This is when you design your space or sequence of space that has an impact on people in similar ways that nature does. For example, providing them with design that gives prospect and refuge, some level of complexity, providing transitional space, or some wayfinding in our design. And it also relates to cultural and ecological attachment to place. Well, the benefits of biophilic design, I'm sure we all agree, and intuitively, we know that biophilic design is good for us as humans. But a significant body of research has suggested that nature can benefit our physical, mental, and it might even affect us spiritually as well. For example, there are research that talks about people who have access to nature, getting close to nature, are less stressful than those who don't. Even a short walk in nature compared to a walk in an urban area reduce different level of stress. Or patient in hospital recover better with windows with view outside compared to those who don't. Students who are provided with daylight in their classrooms has a better performance than those who don't. And so are staffs in office, which is well daylit. And with all these benefits, we do know that it helps us with our health and well-being. But sometimes it can be overwhelming with all these points that we need to consider. So to me, when I look at biophilic design, I look back at how nature is trying to connect with us, and that is through our 5 senses. We could try to revive the multisensory connection to Mother Nature. And our 5 senses don't work separately. We sense everything all at the same time. And all these senses send a signal to our brain, and it declares or defines that whether we like it or not, whether we are happy or not. And for me, for my case, it began during the first day or the first time I visited the site. This site is a site for kindergarten. It is located in the middle of Bangkok, and next to the road, the site is a narrow strip of land. And the moment we step from the road, hot scorching sun, really terribly hot, into this presence of big existing trees that are there, it evolves all our 5 senses. And we felt that we are connected to nature. With our sight, what we see, the shades and shadow patterns that falling onto our skin and onto the surrounding environment. What we hear, we started to hear some rustling leaves, the sound of some tiny creatures. We can feel the wind through our skin, and also we feel cooler than when we were outside. And at that moment, we think that we would like the children to learn and play by experiencing similar things that we had that day. So we decided to keep all the trees there. So we lock the tree location, the type, and we try to not disturb them by sweeping the section of school building and learning spaces underneath the tree. And we punch some holes in between to allow for the wind, because the wind is coming from strange direction. It's coming from the narrow back end towards the front end. And we were glad to see that the children are now happily running around under the tree shades, and they are learning in that semi-indoor outdoor space connected with the trees with all their 5 senses. And they even have a different viewpoint from the second floor, where they have different relationship to the trees. But not all sites are like this. Maybe this is the majority of the cases that we work with, is that the site could be next to the large road, lots of traffic, pollution, sound, unwanted noise. And this is the case for another office building close to Bangkok that we work with. It is an office for medical supplies, which all the programs almost fill up the site because there is also a warehouse at the back. And we felt that there are no nature outside. So maybe we could provide them with a tiny portion of nature that can interact with people. So we achieved that by dividing the main three functions, the reception, the showroom, and the office out. And we insert narrow, tiny strips of nature and some pocket natural space in between. This helps them to have the sight aspect of the trees and greeneries that also help to filter the pollution from outside. We also have the hanging greens around here as well. We put some small reflecting pond, and with the sound of the water feature, it helps to buffer the sound from the traffic outside. Natural breezes are coming from that direction into the building. And by means of separating all these masses, we're able to locate the main circulation as a semi-indoor outdoor transitional space. So when staffs are walking around the building, they're walking underneath a skylit roof that protects them from the rain, but still well daylit and also naturally ventilated. And we hope that by working in this environment, it can help them, it can enhance their well-being in an office building. And on this second floor, there are some trees coming up as well. And you can see that it is well daylit, and we can even turn off these lights and they are still okay. One interesting aspect about our five senses is that it needs time when we process how we actually feel or whether we feel comfortable or not. You have to sit and work in a space for a certain period of time or learn or live until your brain tells you whether you live well, work well, or learn well. I would call that whether you dwell in there or not. And that could be a time of day or seasonally. And by doing so, we need to understand the relationship of that certain period of time that nature impacts us and also how it interacts with the architecture that we're going to design when there was none. So for our case, we use simulation to help us with that. For example, we would like to introduce clear story opening for the classroom, but our clear story are not facing north as usual, but we decided to face it courtyard-wise, curved to be underneath the tree shades. So we had to use simulation to test whether this is going to provide them with enough daylight without glare or not. And so is the case of the wind. We have to test to make sure that the wind is actually coming and the holes that we're punching here are enough to allow wind to get through. And with this seasonal change of nature, it can also be considered as a celebration, like this kindergarten, this school in Japan, where during rainy season, the courtyard playground changed to a water puddle. Or even for public spaces in this square in Rotterdam, where during the dry season, it's a public gathering space and also for some sports. But during the rainy season, it becomes a water reservoir, and it helps to raise public awareness of living with nature, with water. So I wanted to ask you, what would you like the dwellers to experience and how? And to me, the important thing is about providing choices to the dwellers. They can choose their own connection with nature, and building skin plays a big part in this connection. Would you like to design the building skin to help them control how they would like to connect? Filter some senses or some nature elements? Semi-indoor outdoor space can also act as buffer from nature, or transitional space from inside this transitional space to outside to nature. And semi-indoor outdoor space to me is very important as it provides us with a more flexible use of space, unlike the indoor space. So what are the choices you can provide so that dwellers can choose how they would experience nature? And to me, there is a lot more from reconnecting with nature. If you look at this slide, Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley has defined 11 keys to living well, living a purposeful, contented life. And there are some of these keys that I would like to share with you. Awe. Awe is the feeling that we get in the presence of something that sort of challenges to the understanding of the world. And it makes you feel happier and more connected because you feel that you are a part of something bigger than yourself. But awe doesn't only happen when you have the skylight and you look at millions of stars up above. There can be awe in everyday life as well. We interviewed the teacher at this kindergarten, and they told us that they're very happy to see the kids felt this awe moment in their everyday life as they encounter tiny creatures like caterpillars, blue lizards, which comes and become sort of friends with them, or crows that are chasing them, or on a rare occasion, some snakes that came in. Well, no harm is done for the kids though. But this feeling helped the kids to be more connected to nature around them, and that's actually what we want for a learning environment. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is the awareness that arises when you direct your attention to your inner self, to the other people around you, or to the environment. It helps us to be aware of the present moment without judging it. And we talked with the owner of this house in Bangkok. After a year of occupancy, they told us that their favorite spot is to sit here on the west-facing deck. It's the west-facing, but it's a pocket courtyard, so it's shaded. And they said that once it became their favorite spot, they love to sit here every afternoon. And then they start to notice, once they are peacefully sitting and chatting, they start to notice what's happening around them at that very moment. They told me that they start to notice the pattern of the sun, where the sun is actually going, where it's going to set at different periods of the year. They start to notice the flowers that bloom during certain times of year. They start to notice the pattern of the shadows from the hanging greens on their terrace, and even tiny creatures, life that comes and goes. So I think this reflection helps you to be mindful of the surrounding environment, and also helps you to feel connected to what's around you. And connecting with nature can also help us to feel calm. From the interview with the teachers and staffs at this Rain Tree Kindergarten, they told us that they felt that the students here, the general temperament are calm. And they thought that it's a result of reconnecting them to nature, and the children don't feel that they're blocked from nature. And if you look at this tiny, narrow space at the back of the classroom here, it was intended to be sort of a back of house for teachers to store some things that they're not used. But it turns out that the teachers are using that space as a calm space for kids who had some meltdown. They would ask that kid to go out there. It's that tiny pocket space behind the classroom there, and calm themselves down. And they said that it worked very well. And this is something that surprised me. After we had a discussion with the teacher, we found out that after reluctantly using outdoor space because they're not used to, after 3 years of operation, they start to use the outdoor more. Children are more connected, not only during the curriculum that defines that it's going to be outdoor, but they devise a curriculum specifically that they could use the outdoor space regularly, and they use it for different occasions. And turns out that the children are very connected to the big trees. They felt that the trees are their friends. And one time when one of the trees got sick, they had to fence out a big area to allow for the time for that tree to recover. And they thought that these 1.5-year-old to 5-year-old kids would complain because they have less space to play. But instead, some kids went to them and asked whether the trees are okay, and whether there is something they could do to help the trees. And I think I myself, I learned a lot from this project, that by reconnecting people with nature, there are unexplored potential as to what reconnecting people with nature can do. So my last question, in this book, Outside In, at the end, we answer to nature's calling. So I would like to ask you, as designers, how would you answer today. Thank you.
Thank you, Siritip, for your heartfelt sharing on allowing nature to thrive alongside our design. What a nice reminder to be more aware of all the ways nature tries to reconnect with us and us with it, and how designers can revive a space by reconnecting with nature. Let's focus on restore, where we embrace our well-being. It is in demand to create a cohesive environment through the play of color and the surrounding of the spaces we design. And to show us just that, here is Suhasini, a renowned architect and founder of Auroville Design Consultants, will share her views on creating relaxing and restorative spaces while paying homage to nature.
I'm going to talk about sustainability, but in the context of the whole idea of resetting. How does one go about resetting? So in a way, my talk is going to be about three different things that we look at when we do any kind of design or planning exercise. So we look at balance. Balance basically is about stability, equity, equality. How do we bring balance into the buildings that we're designing? We look for harmony. Harmony, in a way, we can talk about is tranquility and accord, but also kind of harmony between textures, colors, building materials, and spaces. And of course, inclusivity. And inclusivity is very, very important because the most balanced and harmonious built environment is still kind of dead or inanimate, I would say, if it is not inclusive, and inclusive in all sense, both in terms of the animate and the inanimate. Looking further at how these three pillars on which the built environment is, balanced on, it is like between balance and harmony. When you create a certain overlap of balance and harmony, you achieve a sense of well-being. And similarly, between inclusivity and harmony, when there is an overlap that is very synchronized and converging, there's a feeling of connectedness. And between balance and inclusivity, it is restorative. And when you bring all these qualities together in a tangible and intangible way, bringing them into a certain fluid motion where color, texture, building material, and other things just flow into each other, you naturally come to a state of being where sustainability becomes inevitable. I'm going to illustrate that using three different projects. Each project embodies one of these qualities: balance, harmony, and inclusive. So going to the first one, it is a housing project, which is all about balance between earth and air, fire and water. And what we try to do in this project is to find a way that the built spaces in which the people are living and the open spaces outside, between the temperature, humidity, and wind movement, which is very, very important, especially when you build in a climate like coastal Tamil Nadu, which is South India. How do people achieve a certain balance of indoor-outdoor spaces with very little use of energy? How do you achieve a balance between light and shade, between comfort and temperature? And in this project, we tried our best to say that everything between the indoor-outdoor spaces, between the spaces used individually in a private manner by a person and spaces used collectively, to bring a certain balance so that there is harmony among the residents. And then we went further to look at balance among the building materials. And in almost all our projects, our building materials, the colors and the textures and the tones are emerging out of the natural material itself. When we use a lot of earth, depending on where we are taking the earth from, where we are building, the earth tones can be anything from light yellows to ochres to burnt amber, and offset with exposed concrete, recycled wood, mesh, recycled stone. And to find a balance between all these different materials, whether it's virgin or recycled, earth tones, cement tones, wood, and metal. So the next project that I would talk about is harmony. And in harmony, we are looking at a completely different range of things. In harmony, when we talk about harmony, we're talking about harmony between built and unbuilt spaces, but actually harmony between the individual and the space itself. Harmony between light and shade, harmony between the proportions of the space to the user. This is a project that is a Center for Indian Studies, Indian Cultural Center, sorry, where we tried to find a harmony between textures, which is use of natural material like stone, where there's recycled stone in the walls and virgin stone in the floors, between polished stones and unpolished stone. Because see, most of the time in climate like we have in South India, people walk barefoot inside the buildings. We leave our footwear outside because in tropical climates, between dust and mud and insects, you try to find a certain sense of hygiene and sanitation. And so you increase the feeling of tactile perception also through the sole of the feet. So use of material and color on the floor is extremely important because it gives you a sense of connectedness to your space. So the harmony is not just in terms of the visual sense of space, but also in terms of textures that you touch and walk on and feel and sit on. And all the openings and the apertures that let in light, how it is treated, the harmony between the harsh light outside and the muted light inside, and how that is perceived through the inner eye of the being gives a certain feeling of well-being and comfort. And so harmony in terms of texture, colors, material, light, and shade, and especially in tropical climates, is very important to get a sense of well-being. Like, for example, when we look at the way the texture and the color is interpreted during the day as the sun moves between sunrise and sunset, the amount of humidity in the air varies. So the color of the material keeps changing. And how do you play with that using textures and the metabolic functions that you use in the space? A space that where you have high level of physical activity is very well ventilated because the body gives off heat. It needs to cool down. Spaces where you have low metabolic activity, where there's muted shades that are restful, and it calls in an inner going into yourself to find the center. This also connects in a way to sustainability, because when you look at actual material textures and colors, one of the most amazing things is non-industrialized materials. They're very colors that are in nature, how you use it into the spaces that you build, how you integrate the intrinsic feeling of well-being that comes from using natural materials, which also makes it sustainable because you have low embodied energy. By having natural lighting and ventilation, you have low operative energy. By recycling of materials and using them how they're found in nature, you have very low energy being spent between mining, assembling, and constructing with it. So in a way, almost everything between the science, the art, and the perception can be interlinked through a cycle of the designer, the user, and the context of climate and culture. And this is very, very interesting because the more you get into a cyclic sense of designing, the more you move very harmoniously into a sustainable built environment. So you can see that within the spaces, because there's no difference between the inside and the outside, except to keep out the insects by a mesh, you have a feeling of the nature coming inside without it actually imposing on you with all the other aspects of nature. You create a feeling of well-being with fresh air and light, while you are also in tune and interacting with the outside. The last project that I would like to present is a school building. It's a kindergarten for children between the age of 2 and 7. And it's quite a special kindergarten, and I wanted to use it as a project that demonstrates inclusivity. Again, it's a project that is built with taking into account the climate, the context, the users, here it's children, and the entire aspect of how you bring in building materials, space, proportions, colors, textures into a certain convergence to create a space that is constantly evolving with the users. For example, the children in the school come from about 60 different countries of the world, including local children from the villages inside. We have Russians, Koreans, Japanese, we have the European countries, North America, South America, and the African countries, to create spaces for these children who are brought up in different cultures and ethnic groups when they are within a school, to make the space so accessible that everything can be touched, can be used, can be experimented with, while allowing for constant flow of light and air, so that the children are at all points of time in tune with the natural climate. And this helps them to explore their spaces, be playful, learn about each other, learn about the environment, learn about going beyond fear and being really adventurous, innovative, and experimental. And each of the spaces flow into each other. The foundations, the walls, and the floor are made of earth. And the roof is just normal terracotta tiles. And we tried each time that the color of all these materials emerge very naturally within the building material technology. So we don't disguise it, we don't try to put any admixtures, that the color keeps changing with the natural daylight and allows the user to experiment with whatever is there. And only the surfaces which are like with veneer or had needed paints, we contrasted it. We contrasted to the earth tones so that we bring in a kind of pastel, fresh, atmospheric sense of color and texture to all the earth tones that are in the material. We went further that we have with the skylights and the roof level ventilation to play with air and temperature in a manner that as the day gets hotter and hotter towards midday of the school, the air starts rising up towards the roof and the light gets stronger through the skylights. So you have a feeling of both heat and air getting a bit extreme, and that allows you to know what time of the day it is, so that the children learn and are in tune with the climate. And every part of the building is accessible, like I told you. They have their own little storage spaces, they can play with different types of toys, they can leave it around, they can have the freedom to actually work together as teams. And this makes all these spaces inclusive to a point that you have a feeling that they take ownership of it and they adapt it as they play, and the space responds. So this inclusiveness is between both the animate and the inanimate. The spaces, instead of being over-designed, are actually designed to be constantly changing with the user. And this allows a high degree of responsiveness. And responsiveness comes when spaces are inclusive, when spaces allows the user not just to be in it, but adapt it and adapt with it. And after all, sustainability is about adaptation. Sustainability is about being responsive. Sustainability is about finding a certain balance between and balance without, balance with nature and balance with society. And between that balance and inclusivity, finding a certain harmony of being allows one to move away from imitative consumerism to something which is more conscious consumerism, to something which is more conscious living. And the minute you are in the cycle of conscious living, in balance, harmony, and inclusivity, there is a well-being that calls for a certain sense of sustainability. And that is what we try to achieve with all our projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Suhasini. I absolutely love the introduction where you emphasize on the importance of bringing in these qualities into design: balance, inclusivity, harmony. And by embracing harmony, inclusivity, and balance in design, sustainability in our work becomes inevitable. It's also true that we need to look at how building materials play a role in the locality of our design. Using locally available materials and pairing it with the right colors and coating does impact the longevity and usability of building. Before we continue to inspire you, here's a little something for you.
And I look across the water, and I think of all the things what you're doing. In my head I paint a picture. Since I've come home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool. Why don't you come on over, by the way? By the way, by the way, by the way. Did you have to go to jail? Put your house up for sale? Did you get a good lawyer? Hope you didn't catch a tag. Hope you find a right man to fix it for ya. Are you shopping anywhere? Change the color of your hair. Are you still dizzy? Did you have to pay that fine that you were dodging all the time? Are you still dizzy? Since I've come on home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, by the way? By the way, said by the way, by the way. Give it to me now, boys. and I look across the water, and I think of all the things what you're doing. In my head I paint a picture. Come on. Since I'm coming home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? Valerie, 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 Valerie. Come on over, Valerie. That ice cold Michelle Pfeiffer, that white gold. This one's for them good girls, straight masterpiece. Styling, wildin', living it up in the city. Got your song with Saint Laurent. Gonna kiss myself so pretty. Too hot. Girl, the police and a fireman. Too hot. Make the dragon want a retirement. Too hot. Say my name, you know who I am. Too hot. In my bed about and money. Break it down. Boy said you hallelujah. Boy said you hallelujah. Boy said you hallelujah. Cause Uptown Funk gon' give it to ya. Uptown Funk gon' give it to ya. Uptown Funk gon' give it to ya. Saturday night we in the spot. Don't believe it, just watch. Come on. Hey. I said don't believe it, just watch. Just watch. Don't believe it, just watch. Don't believe it, just watch. Hey, 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 oh, stop. Wait a minute. Fill my cup, put some liquor in it. Take a sip, sign a check. Julio, get stretched. Up to Harlem, Hollywood, Jackson, Mississippi. Gonna show up, you're gonna show down. Smoother than a fresh jar skippy. Too hot. With the police and the firemen. Too hot. Make the dragon want a retirement. Too hot. Say my name, you know who I am. Too hot. In my bed about and money. Break it down. Boy said you hallelujah. Boy said you hallelujah. Boy said you hallelujah. Cause Uptown Funk gon' give it to ya. Uptown Funk gon' give it to ya. Uptown Funk gon' give it to ya. Saturday night we in the spot. Don't believe it, just watch. Don't believe it, just watch. Hey. Now don't believe it, just watch. 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 Hey, 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 oh.
uptown funk you up. Uptown funk you up. Come on. Come on, dance. Get on it. If you're sexy and you know it. If you're freaky, then own it. Don't brag about it. Come show me. Come on, dance. Get on it. If you're sexy and you know it. Saturday night, we in the spot. Don't leave me, just watch. Yeah, don't leave me, just watch. Hey! Don't believe me, just watch. 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 Hey, 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 oh! Uptown, funk you up. 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 Say what? Uptown, funk you up. 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 We have two sub-themes earlier with Siritip on revive and Suhasini on restore, in which we focus on the importance of allowing nature to thrive and striking a balance between nature and our needs. Let's focus on connecting with ourselves and our loved ones with the remaining two sub-themes of reconnect and reflect. Next, Wenhui, partner at Spark Architects, would share her efforts in connecting and reconnecting with people through design.
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. And I'm Wenhui from Spark. I'm very happy and excited to be here to share our projects with you. Just a quick introduction about us. This is our team. We have about 30 people and 2 studios in Shanghai and in Singapore. Our founder is from London originally and came to Asia about 20 years ago to work on Clarke Quay, Singapore. So we have projects all over the world, and we work on a wide range of projects from master planning, large scale, to a small scale projects like interior designs and furniture design even. So you can see like we have all kinds of projects, commercial, residential, industrial, education, but we are very interested and passionate about animating the city. It could be about placing a large canopy and umbrella, we call it angels, over the streets of Clarke Quay in Singapore. Or it could be about creating a very crystalline sculpture in the heart of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, which in this case is a new built flagship store for Sephora. It could be about flagship shops that are in pods that are hung in a large structure in the city, in the heart of Shanghai. This is the Shanghai International Cruise Terminal, which animates the cityscape and riverfront. And is also the winner of MIPIM's Asia Best Mixed Use Project in 2011. Or it could be about really fun clubhouses in this tallest twin towers in Penang, Malaysia, which is about celebrating the views that you can have from these towers, these residential towers. I think animating the city and having fun could be also about interpreting the way we hang aircon units on the facade in the city. So these are colorful interpretations and envelopes that hide all the ugly aircon units of residential tower. And this is our latest completed project in the heart of Kuala Lumpur in Mont Kiara, where you have these 3 residential and hotel towers that has this pattern, which is supposed to be the client's thumbprint. So I'm excited today to talk about some of our projects that uses colors in different ways and different scales. So the first 2 projects I want to talk about, I want to share, is about color being used in city regeneration. So Minhang Waterfront is a large city regeneration project in Shanghai city in China. So this area is a very old industrial estate where it's full of shoe factories, fabric factories, semiconductors, and it's also got a university. So it's got a nice mixture of education and industrial vibes. So we've been commissioned to regenerate the landscaping and the public space of this area, Min Hang, and to give it a new lease of life. So we have been working on the story of the entire master plan. So we thought that with all these regeneration of industrial zone, the startup companies and the students, there's this nice vibe of communication. So waves and frequency is a theme that we use in the project, together with diatoms. Diatom is basically a single cell algae that you find in rivers. And this master plan has got these very nice river running through the entire length. So you can see the language of these frequency waves that weave through the city. So these are some early images of the master plan design. So these waves, right, are basically pedestrian paths that link different zones, activities in the parks and riverfront areas together. And what's fun about it is we have assigned a color to one of the running tracks that tie the whole master plan together. And then we have 3 bridges that crosses the river. So when the running track comes to the river, it sort of becomes a 3-dimensional sculpture that becomes these iconic bridges. So those were drawings, early drawings of our project, and this is what it looks like when it's completed. This was taken recently. So in this case, the color is sort of like a wayfinding strategy within the city. You follow the red path, and then it becomes this 3-dimensional sculpture, urban sculpture, and highlight in the city. So from far away, it becomes quite a large signage that signifies this area of the city is being revitalized. It's also quite a fun element. So you can see how the wave converts from a 2-dimensional image to a 3-dimensional element. And then you have these diatom shapes that are cut out in the bridge. So it becomes a finer graphic play. So this is, you can see this is the large entire area of the master plan and the river. And then this bridges crossing the river. And this is the red path I was talking about. So you just follow the path, and then it sort of joins and links the entire master plan together. So it brings everyone into the riverfront, and you can enjoy the experience of moving through the city. Okay, so the next project I want to talk about is Grid in Singapore. It is of a smaller scale. It is a retrofit of an existing building. So Grid used to be called POMO. It's located in the civic district of Singapore and is surrounded by schools. So we wanted it to be an extension of the campus where students from surrounding schools can hang out here and basically have fun. And then it becomes more of a community center rather than a typical shopping mall. So Grid has gone through many renovations in its previous ownership, and its earliest incarnation was a gaming center. So we wanted to bring some of these gaming vibes back to the building. As you can see on the left, this is what it used to look like. And the corner is dominated by this last structure that is just an atrium. So when you enter, it's just space and there isn't much happening here. So what we wanted to do was to bring a lot of activities to the corner and also give it a new image. So what we did was to put a flagship shop right at the corner of this building. So you convert sort of like a atrium and a negative space into a positive occupation of a corner. So it also increases the value of this commercial building. So you can see here on the left, we did many studies on what the new corner could look like. So in this retrofitting project, it's about applying a very graphic, colorful intervention to an existing gray building to uplift and give it a new lease of life. And then we also did studies on the different kinds of activities the students could have in this building. And it went into a series of graphic vignettes of representation of activities that could happen here. So you can see, so it extends to every single space, even the corridor leading to the washrooms, and even the circulation spaces like the staircases, even underneath the escalator, and how the washrooms could be redefined. So these are one of the early images where you see a staircase down to the base, and then it could be converted into a performance area with surrounding cafes looking down and engaging with the activities. We also wanted this graphic gesture to be about extending the city into the building. So the building gets flipped inside out. It's almost like it's public space within the building. So it's represented by these colorful traffic graphic patterns on the floor. So I'll show you, this is like before and after. So on the left is what it looked like, it used to look like. On the right is our imagination of the space. So this is one of the entrances and central areas, the project. And this is what it looks like right now. This was taken recently of the constructed grid. Right now, shops are occupying the structure. So if you go there right now, it is already quite different from here. Lots of people hang out in these balconies and areas. So you can actually see the activities on the facade of the building. So this is the entrance. This is what it looks like in the daytime. And the social stairs constructed. Now, the second retrofit project I want to talk about is located in Bangkok. It's called Phi-Pha. Phi-Pha means light in the city. So it is a charity project by TMB Bank to create this education center for slum children where they can learn life skills related to art, like, for example, singing or music, drawing, dancing. So they engaged us. So this is also a charity project for us. Oh, look, Nippon Paint. So this two shop houses right next to Nippon Paint were combined and converted into this free education center for the slum children. So we were engaged together with the client and the kids from the community. We held a workshop, engage with them, find out what they would like to have, get them to draw their ideas. And then some of the ideas that came from the workshop was so interesting, like they wanted to have a lot of colors in this new school of theirs, and they wanted to have the name of the building on the facade. So we thought these were great. So it's our job to interpret these children's ideas into the outcome. So this is what it looks like, finished. The interesting part about this project is that everything new and inserted into the old building is in a color, in this case, yellow. We call it the yellow brick road. So the kids follow this path of growth and development, and then it combines all the different levels of the building. So each floor is of a certain class. Say at the top floor is dance class, and the second floor is art class. Third floor is the library. So every zone, every room has got its own color. But the combining circulation is always in yellow. So it becomes an interior wayfinding that leads people to their various destinations. And then we also have these art exhibition box, which is a sculpture within the space. So you can see diagrams we produce. It's consistent with the idea. So right now, every weekend, TMB Bank staff will volunteer at this place to teach the kids the lifestyle skills. So it's become a great community hangout place. All right, everyone, thank you for listening. I guess the key takeaway for me is, and for you guys, is that every project is different. Every brief, every environment, every issue or problem that you encounter is different. So don't apply a formula to your design. Don't repeat what you have done for the previous project to the next one. Just deal with it as though it's on a fresh new page. Challenge yourself. And at Spark, we always tell ourselves there are no rules. Especially in the early conceptual stages, there are really no rules. Just go wild and see what you come up with. And importantly, there must be a story to reason to your designs. And if you use colors, the colors should really support your story or concept to make it stronger. So everything will come together in one unified goal, right? And most of all, have fun while doing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Wenhui, for the amazing walkthrough of your projects and ongoing efforts. I especially love Phai Pha in Thailand, where the vibrant color is both the key color identity to the building, but also a wayfinding tool to help people navigate inside the building. And the rejuvenation project for Grid in Singapore is absolutely stunning. What a brilliant way to rebrand an old section of the community and crowd puller. Phew! It's been an amazing journey with the past sub-themes, from embracing nature to striking a balance and immersing ourselves in color. Let's take a step back and relax as our final designer of the day walks us through projects where we prioritize our experience, indulging ourselves and having honest conversations with ourselves. Let's have Lai from the award-winning Blue Water Studio of Malaysia share his experience and perspectives on Reflect.
Hi, I'm Lai Siew, the founder and chief executive designer of Blue Water, Kuala Lumpur. It's an honor to be here. We in our studio believe in rethinking the design process in line with the rapid evolving needs of the hospitality industry. We are also passionate to create bespoke design solutions and planning to shift the perspective of self-realization. Our aim is to create design solutions that drive responsible design and provide a positive human experience with human-centered sensibility. We hope this shall create impeccable design spaces with meaningful soul, brighten a fresh perspective to the world of design. In most of our projects, we want our work to tell a compelling story and take people on an emotive journey with a beautiful narrative that allows an audience to escape everyday life and walk away in a deeply personal and memorable experience. Each space is designed to engage people from the moment they arrive. In the same way, the theatre captivates an audience. We produce a script for each project based on an in-depth understanding of the setting and its local culture and heritage, before assembling the materials and color palette to create the space and define the scene. The global pandemic creates a new context for hospitality design. We need to rethink the way we have simulated the comfort of home and open up spaces in a way that alters the ratio of sociability and privacy. We need to reimagine and reinvent the idea of creating healthier environments and work towards a better world. Proper material selections is essential, while a balanced palette of distinguishable colors connect people both with space and each other. The goal remains to create a warm, inspiring spaces, but pragmatic consideration should now take precedence over the aesthetic. Today, I would like to bring some positive perspective by sharing some of our design focus on materials and colors, and how we create a relationship that make the story we crafted visible. Hai Di Lao is no longer strange to the dining scene in Asia. Taking cues from the experience enjoying a hot pot, we draw inspiration from spicy mala soup and non-spicy clear broth, two elements representing the soul of soup. These two contrasting elements work together in harmony when two become one. The flow in the restaurant is fluid, creating a movement led by the beautiful swatches of red from the brush strokes. The abstract is highlighted in calligraphic strokes, beginning the idea of steam emerging from the bubbling soup. The single red tone applied throughout the dining area interlaced with elegant nuances of oriental elements, creating an immersive experience. Imagining being on cloud nine, So Spa at Sofitel carries you away to a journey of blissful happiness, inspired by a notion of revivification and relaxation. Like clouds, a seamless passage moves beautifully with the soft edges of curved glass, organic furniture, and sculptural wall panels, inspired by French-Chinese couture, Yi Qingying's freeform sculptural design. The interior adopts an immaculate palette of rich, creamy whites and hues of dusty blue. Enchanted by soft clouds, the interior space is elaborated with an alluring softness through imaginative use of textures, materials, and lighting. The blend of neutrals and rose gold tones highlight the flicker of sunlight piercing through the fluffy clouds. The Edison Georgetown is located in Penang. It's a World Heritage Site well known for its colonial past and Oriental charm. Unique architecture alongside the city's quaint heritage create a distinct blend of design identity. The hotel atmosphere is all about harmony, warmness, and eloquent uniqueness with a touch of jade that creates intimacy and comfort abound. Bone china inspired art at the reception, greeting the guests while checking into the hotel. The rooms are furnished in two distinct styles, colonial and oriental, to recreate the past, contrasting it with a fresh contemporary approach. Light walls and furnishing contrasted with black furniture, jade accented wall panelings, combined with an authentic Peranakan tiles, creates a luxurious and calming space to relax in. The ornate bedhead and the customized furniture with subtle variation of materials truly encapsulate the charm of the Orient. EQ Kuala Lumpur is an iconic 52 stories architecture. The hotel has a total of 440 rooms and suites, all luxuriously designed with a strong sense of local identity, encompassing the idea of harmonious Malaysia that comprises three main culture and heritage. Stylish Songket-inspired prints are also layered with glass surfaces to create a unique silhouette for the tower lantern. The interplay of opacity and luminosity adds charm and romance to the lobby area, injecting the space with a symphony of harmony and the spirit of place. Adopting the concept of timeless chic heritage, we use polished rose gold patterns inspired by metallic threads of the rich textile as well as woven motifs patented from the traditional basket. This artistic silhouette reflects the beauty of diverse Malaysia and is delicately used in a controlled and monolithic way, lending a sense of calmness and continuity to the space. Intricate motifs and metallic highlights embellished the interiors, both soft and hard finishing. Bold geometric patterns inspired by traditional Malay songket are translated into the carpets, while feature walls derive the art of henna. The overall room is donned in splashes of dark tones, accentuated with sudden pops of ochre yellow and majestic gold. The narrative for rooftop sky dining is fly like a bird. The concept of these F&B spaces draw an immersive experience of dining near the clouds. Upon arrival at the 250-meter high Sky 51, guests are greeted by the sense of being in an infinite space. Infinity mirrors and reflective surfaces create the illusion of a boundless space spanning a limitless horizon, like a bird about to take flight. At the end of the lobby, we have a glowing maitre d' that invites guests towards it, back against a glass where a lively bar beacons. As one walks up to the upper deck, marvel at the DJ booth that appear afloat with a cantilevered table. The scarlet red illumination depict the city lights from the bird's eye view, taking the cue from a bird's curiosity when peering into the sky beneath. The outdoor bar counter is crowned with a curved glass staircase and deck, both finished with a reflective surface inspired by a champagne glass that mirror the city space around, rendering their forms invisible. Capri by Frasers Kuala Lumpur, the once vibrant entertainment capital, filled the inspiration behind the design of the hotel. Drawing inspiration elements from all senses, reminiscence of the past, bring back an alluring and energetic charisma that once forgotten, but celebrated today in its most artistic form. At the main lobby, the vibe is more aloft with high ceiling and vivacious palette of purples, green, and orange sets against glorious copper and wood finish. Where retro meets minimalism, the play of positive and negative spaces adds such a beautiful contrast to the communal space. Throughout the hotel, common areas are given a playful twist with a touch of whimsy, and the energy is graceful with soft splotches of paint on the feature art wall for added interest. From start to finish, the interior invites visitors in an immersive odyssey as a homage to the city's most vibrant past. Lastly, I would like to share with you one of our collaboration with Sabah-born street artist Kenji Chai on a colorful painting, Rebirth of EQ Kuala Lumpur. Reimagining a phoenix rising from the ashes on the plates that were upcycled from its predecessor, providing a nostalgic touch as conversation starter. As a designer, we challenge ourselves to instigate a dialogue between human and the space, to create a connection or relationship to make the story we crafted visible like a piece of poetry. Thank you.
Thank you, Lai, for your wonderful sharing. You make me want to just leave everything behind and jump into one of your designs for a much needed break. Jokes aside, guys, being a COVID-19 survivor myself, it's truly helped me realize the importance of prioritizing our well-being and surround ourselves with our loved ones. Well, we have come to an end to the first of many virtual events for the Trend Beyond Colours 2022-2023 Reset. We do hope our architects and designers have helped spark inspiration to bring in more colors and varieties of design thinking processes in your future work. Before we go, I am going to share some of our initiatives that are very close to our hearts and wish you can be a part of it. For the past 15 years, IDA Awards have been working closely with more than 1,200 universities and colleges around the world. With the support of our passionate mentors, lecturers, and industry professionals to help nurture the next generation of socially conscious designers. We need you to be part of this amazing design community.
The world is truly extraordinary. filled with amazing wonders of nature and breathtaking sceneries in which every human being is unique in their own special way. We are all different in genders, ages, and identities, from diverse family backgrounds, regions, ethnicities, and cultures. We do have one thing in common: ideas. From the things we have seen, the experiences we have gained, and our exposure to the world, we generate infinite ideas to contribute to our society's social, economic, and cultural values, to help build and enhance the world we live in. The world needs change now more than ever, and a push for revolutionary innovation which will thrust us towards improving the quality of our lives. AIDA is determined to positively build a community of enthusiastic, outstanding, and compassionate spatial designers. We believe we can provide more to the world through our efforts. Founded in 2008, AIDA aims to help nurture the talents of tomorrow, together with leading architects and interior designers of our generation. Over the years, AIDA has evolved to become an international community in 16 countries and regions, and expanding rapidly. We have grown beyond just being an awards competition, but a holistic growth accelerator and community for design enthusiasts, both students and practicing professionals. By working closely with our network of passionate mentors and judges, the AIDA journey offers hands-on and out-of-classroom experience for our student participants. This is vital in helping young designers reach maturity upon graduating and entering the world of spatial design with a socially conscious heart in their pocket. Through the valuable sharing and guidance from our outstanding mentors and lecturers, our participants will acquire relevant technical skills, explore being creative with designs, and be able to better understand market needs. Many of our beloved alumni are on an ongoing journey to better impact the future by interpreting the pinnacle of good designs. Since 2018, AIDA has been awarding our international winners an opportunity to attend the 6-week Design Discovery Program by Harvard University's Graduate School of Design, with all expenses paid. Unfortunately, in 2020, COVID-19 swooped in and struck us, but AIDA has never stopped being resilient against the sudden surge of negativity. We believe in preserving hardship and embracing innovation until the day we can harvest the fruit of our success. Despite the pandemic, the 1,200 partnering educational institutions across Asia share our sentiment. The number of entries did not dwindle, and participating students' morale alongside their mentors has never been stronger. With AIDA going beyond Asia, we are persistently amplifying creativity and unearthing hidden talents within every young designer. We will continue to encourage our future young leaders to be bold, innovative, and committed to changing the world with significant impact. Be part of the AIDA family and join us in cultivating passionate design communities.
Here's a new one for you. Are your designs oozing with colors? And colors in design is something you take pride in? Nippon Paint will be launching its regional competition, which celebrates the brilliant use of colors through coatings. It is an opportunity for design professionals. Till the next time, I'm Joy Victor, signing off.